So since Naoya Inoue's very impressive victory against Marlon Tapales a couple days ago, there's been a lot of discussion on who the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the sport is. In this video, I'll be giving the case for why Naoya Inoue is pound-for-pound #1 above Terence Crawford, above Alexander Usyk, above Canelo, above anyone else that is in contention. Now, Naoya Inoue is obviously, without doubt, one of the best fighters in the sport. Many will even say the best fighter in the sport. And when you look at his accomplishments and what he's done in his career, I honestly feel it's pretty conclusive that he is the best fighter in the world off of pure accolades and accomplishments. When you look at Naoya Inoue's accolades, first of all, his championship record, he is 21-0 with 19 wins coming by way of KO in championship bouts. This isn't against past or present champions. This is in fights that have been fought where there's a title on the line. 21-0 with 19 KOs when the title's been on the line for a fight. Most fighters don't even have 10 title fights in their entire career. Naoya Inoue has 21 title fights in his career. He's undefeated in those title fights, and he has 19 wins by knockout. He's been super dominant in his run throughout his career, and he has a very stellar record in title fights. 21-0 with 19 wins by knockout in title fights is absolutely tremendous. Extremely rare. You won't see that from anyone in the sport currently that is elite. You know, you have someone like Triple G who has a similar record in that way, but he's lost a few times, and you know, he's 40 years old. But Naoya Inoue, 21-0 with 19 wins by KO in championship bouts. You got to realize this guy's only 26-0 with 23 wins by knockout in his entire career. So he's only had 5 fights that didn't have a title on the line in his entire career. 85% of his career, at least, has been an important, significant fight. This guy's only had 4 or 5 fights in his career that were build-up fights. A lot of these fighters, even my favorite fighter in the sport, Terence Crawford, he had, 20 fights, 21, 22 fights before he started getting the bigger, tougher opponents. And Inoue only had 5 fights before getting into the title picture. 21-0 with 19 wins in title fights. When you continue that, he has a record of 13-0 with 11 wins by KO against former or current world champions. This guy's fought 13 fights against current or former world champions. Half of his entire career has been fought against a current or former world champion. That's absolutely tremendous. I mean, let's look at it objectively, right? For every fight this guy has in his entire career, the next fight would have been against someone who's currently or is presently held a title in his career. That means he's fought a bunch of world-class opposition. Now, you guys may not know all of these names. I know all of them because I've studied it, but I understand if you aren't as into the sport, it's understandable you wouldn't know all these names. Ryuichi Taguchi, Adrian Hernandez, Omar Narvaez, Kohei Kono, Jamie McDonnell. I'm naming all of them, by the way. Juan Carlos Payano, Emmanuel Rodriguez, Nonito Donaire twice, Jason Maloney, Paul Butler, Stephen Fulton, and Marlon Tapales. Now, these aren't the most marquee names, aside from probably Fulton and Donaire, off of pure name value, but these are all solid, respectable fighters. All of these fighters have held a title at one point in their career, or were currently holding a title when Inoue defeated them. So half of his career has been fought against current or former world champions. He is 21-0 with 19 KOs in world championship bouts. And what adds to his resume and what really has solidified him as a pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the sport is this guy, first of all, he's a multiple weight champion, a 4-weight champion. But this guy is a 2-weight undisputed champion. So in half of the weight classes that he's been a champion in, he's been undisputed. He's been a champion in 4 weight classes, and 2 of those he was undisputed. That is such an impressive feat. A 2-weight undisputed champion. Only him and Terence Crawford have been able to do that. I know a lot of people are pushing this agenda. Teofimo Lopez has done it as well. Teofimo Lopez was robbed of doing it. He technically didn't do it, but I kind of understand why people say he done it, because he beat an undisputed champion in Josh Taylor, and he should have went undisputed at 135 if the WBC didn't ruin it. So Teofimo Lopez is another guy, but Inoue and Crawford are the only 2 guys that have officially done it, and what makes Inoue's more impressive in a way is he was able to do it so much quicker. Once he went undisputed in December of 2022 against Paul Butler, this guy wasted no time. He moved up, took on Stephen Fulton in July of 23. Fulton held the WBC and WBO, dispatched of him in 8, and then he moved up, he fought Tapales in December, who held the IBF and WBA, cleaned out the weight class just like that, and became an undisputed champion. Naoya Inoue, 2-weight undisputed. He did this in the span of a year. The entire run wasn't in a year. It took him a bit to become undisputed at 118. He moved up to 118 in May of 2018, and he didn't become undisputed until 4 years later. So I understand it took him some time at 118, but at 122, he wasted no time. He completely cleaned it out right away. Another factor helping Inoue in his pound-for-pound case is that this guy's had no controversial fights. He's had no fights no gift decisions, no controversial decisions. You know, you even look at one of my favorite fighters, Alexander Usyk. Usyk doesn't really have any controversial decisions. I mean, a couple people were trying to push that agenda that Bradis' fight was a draw or that Bradis deserved that win. He didn't. Usyk deserved that win for sure. But now Usyk has this blemish in his resume with the recent fight against Daniel Dubois, where a lot of people claim that that was a body shot on the belt line. I'm not one of them, but a lot of people are claiming that, and that definitely has diminished Usyk's resume in his career a little bit. When you look at Inoue, he's had none of those. Every fight he's had has been dominant. The only competitive fight he's had in his entire career was that first Donaire fight. He won it, but it was tough. He did get buzzed. He did get cut badly. However, Inoue proved how great a fighter he is by taking out a few more guys in the weight class, unifying, and then unifying once again, and stopping Donaire in 2 rounds, absolutely dispatching of Donaire. And this is Donaire once he built up a lot of momentum for himself after the Inoue fight. I mean, you look at when he rematched Donaire, right? He rematched Donaire when Donaire was able to reclaim a title. So the first time they fought, Donaire was holding the WBA and Inoue was holding the IBF, and they unified. After this, he moved on, took on the WBC champion Nordine Oubaali, a fight that a lot of people wanted for Inoue. A lot of people wanted to see Inoue and Oubaali fight at one point, and Donaire got in the way of that and demolished Oubaali in 4 rounds, dropped him twice in round 3 and put him away in the 4th. After that, he fought undefeated contender Raymart Gaballo, who got a gift decision against Manny Rodriguez, but is still a nice little fighter. He knocked him out in 4 rounds as well. So he had a lot of momentum before the Inoue fight. A lot of people are trying to say that he got a lot older since that first Inoue fight. Yes, the second fight was 2.5 years later, but this is Donaire coming off 2 of the best wins he's had in a very long time. I mean, prior to when he beat Oubaali and Gaballo, his last great win was probably all the way back against Arce in 2012. I mean, Donaire did not have much momentum at all prior to the first Inoue fight. The first Inoue fight, he beat Ryan Burnett because Burnett injured himself, and he beat Stefan Young, who was relatively unknown. So when he gave Inoue all those issues the first time around, it made Inoue look very poor, made him look suspect to some extent. In the second fight, he was coming off 2 of the best wins he's had in a long time, and Inoue was able to dispatch of him in 2 rounds. So that second Donaire win was a really good win for Naoya Inoue in his career. Paul Butler, he demolished, destroyed. I mean, it took him 11 rounds, but he beat him badly and knocked him out. Stephen Fulton, this is the biggest test of Inoue's career. The first fight where people really thought Inoue could lose, and he destroyed Fulton. Then Marlon Tapales, he dominated. So Inoue's had no competitive fights. He's been dominant in 25 of the 26 pro fights he's had in his career. He's looked very good. 2-weight undisputed champion, 4-weight champion in his career. 26-0, 23 knockouts is his record. 21-0 with 19 KOs in world title fights. And 13-0 with 11 KOs against former or current world champions. I mean, that is such a tremendous feat. Such a phenomenal statistic. The fact that this guy only has 26 fights and 21 of them were title fights and 13 of them were against former or current world champions. I mean, I feel that's enough of an argument for why Naoya Inoue is pound for pound number 1. I would say in most, not generations, but you look at the years in the past, 2015, 2016, 2017, back in those years, Inoue would have clearly been number 1 pound for pound if he had that type of resume and those type of accolades back then. The reason it's such a discussion is Terence Crawford has accomplished some tremendous feats, and he has made it truly difficult for Inoue to truly separate himself. We'll see what happens in 2024, but right now, Naoya Inoue is pound for pound number 1. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one. God bless. I'll see you guys later. Peace.